Joining us in studio this morning is the leader of the opposition, the head of the St. Lucia Labour Party, and the representative for Castries East. And you've been that rep for, what, from 1997. He also was the Deputy Prime Minister once upon a time. He has been the Minister for Infrastructure, Port Services and Transport. That was in the year 2011. With us in studio this morning is none other than Mr. Philip J. Pierre. Good morning, good sir. Oh, your microphone. Take your microphone. Yes. Good morning.
Hi, Scotty. How are you?
I am doing very well. Thank you. How are you doing?
Boy, this morning I'm not feeling too well. We lost the European League yesterday.
Oh, you come early. You come and bring the noise early.
Yeah, we lost yesterday, man. The guy threw away this goal. This shot it does. It was painful. It was very painful.
Y'all had a goalkeeper trying to score a penalty,
but he was the last.
But he not good.
But who else it put?
Y'all should have gotten another keeper. You see, y'all like to give my team jokes, but all our keepers can score penalties.
Is that jokes again? Past jokes.
In fact, let me just. You see, this morning I said I was gonna change my whole style of interviewing politicians when they come to the studio, because I realize that some of the surrogates or the faithfuls are taking some offense to how we do things there. And I said I was going to change it up a bit, but then my good friend Mondi told me, why? Don't ever change. So I'm going to stay me. I'm going to say Scaddy, and I'm going to just organize myself right now and just get into a more comfortable way.
Boy, you have an Arsenal
Let me just get a little more comfortable here.
Boy, that jersey
just get a little more comfortable here.
That jersey you have there, you all don't make European,
That's okay. That's okay. We didn't make it, but y'all win it. And we're happy about that.
But we second though. I mean champions.
That's good for you, but no trophy still. So you just like us.
No.
A season with no silverware.
No, but you see that jersey there, you have to do that.
No, that jersey not moving at all.
At all?
That moving at all. All right, and for y'all at home to see exactly what I'm wearing.
Since when are you doing theatrics?
There we go. Why?
Since when?
Since when people decide to come onto my Facebook page and ask
Boy,
the fools.
all right, let's get into important things here today.
Let's get into the figure things here.
Scotty did say, and you did confirm that, you have held that position in your constituency for a long time. This year, I saw a post going around with somebody saying that this is going to be the year that, they dethrone Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Yeah. Did you respond to that at all?
No.
Would you like to?
I let the people respond to that.
Would you like to respond to that?
No, the people respond to that. The people.
What have the people been saying about that?
Boy, the people have been saying that they've elected me 5 times.
Right.
They're going to do it this time again, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Go ahead.
And they're going to do it this time again. So we cool.
We cool. So no problems with that.
Absolutely. In fact, this year it's even looking better.
Oh my goodness.
I'll tell you why. Because this year they believe that Castries East will get the Prime Minister.
Okay.
So that's a big difference. That's
what makes the major difference.
Because this time they're going to get the Prime Minister.
We always ask on a personal side, just asking the person, how has it been like for you getting into election mode? Because we've been dealing with I can't say the word, Scotty.
We've been dealing with a pandemic.
A Panasonic. And
you have no idea.
I don't like the word anymore.
A what?
Panorama. And it's really been very difficult dealing with on a personal level. I could only imagine having to deal with it professionally and in your capacity. But what has it been like for you getting into the whole mindset for elections?
Well, you see, I'll tell you something. I've always been in touch with people, always been. And it really isn't very different to me now, except the fact that you can't meet in groups. I can have my meetings,
right.
But generally I'm in touch with people. But what is different in that you can't have the mass gatherings. People want to gather and listen to speeches, and you can't do that now. So that is.
Just want to show you clearly.
You want me to take out my mask?
You can. We
You
are
sure?
socially distant. Yes.
Alright,
We're
and
all
I've-
in
and
a
I've been
different
vac-
quarter.
and I've been vaccinated.
Both, all of us in here
Alright.
have.
Everybody in here?
Yeah.
So we have a bubble, right?
Yes, we're
You
in
can
our
see that?
bubble.
Okay. I have to make sure. You know
We
what I
are in
mean?
different quarters.
Alright,
Yes.
fine. Okay.
Yes, but like
Yeah,
you were saying,
I
so the
it's
difference
difficult
is
because you can't gather. People want to gather and speak to you. They don't have public meetings. They don't have music. They don't have performances.
Right.
And because of this year, so it's kind of on a kind of a low. People not excited. The excitement. They want to walk and demonstrate, and you know.
In what ways has your party decided to be creative?
Well, we go in virtual. In fact,
Okay.
we've held several virtual meetings.
Yes.
We are the first party to hold a virtual meeting.
Yes.
And we have one on the 6th of June.
Okay.
6th of June, we
Right.
virtual, we all over.
Right.
In fact, we had a virtual youth meeting
Yes.
where we had only young people, only young candidates, because we have a lot of young candidates. In fact, we have the youngest candidate, Jeremiah.
Yes.
He's our candidate from Miko North. He's the youngest candidate in the race. And then he was there, and the other young candidates. And we had a virtual meeting. We're going to hold a meeting now for everyone on the 6th of June. So we've been going virtual. We're trying to use the social media as best we can. But you want to use the social media seriously. We don't use it for gimmicks. And you know,
You've seen a lot of that.
a lot too much. Yes, and we don't want to use it for gimmicks and play. We want to use it to send a message. Make people understand what you do. You know, because, I'll tell you something. Young people can't be fooled. And I think politicians believe too much in trying to fool young people. And that, I think that's a major problem. That's why I refuse to get involved in any gimmicks. When I'm on social media, I'm speaking about facility fees, I'm speaking about income tax, I'm speaking about GC fees, I'm speaking about the youth economy. That's what I'm speaking of. I try to use social media to do serious things, not for gimmicks.
When we spoke to you last time, I was trying to get more clarification on what exactly your party intends for St. Lucia the next 5 years if you are to be elected. And you did tell us that you have major plans, and at that time, you focused heavily on the youth economy.
Yeah.
Since that time, you came out with a list of, is it at least five things? Five things. That would make a significant difference. I want to run through some of the 5 things and for you to clarify certain things for us, because the list was impressive, but it did have us thinking, where is that money gonna come from to support that heavy list? Because it's a very heavy list that would make a significant difference in truth. But are we gonna pay for it in other ways? We're really curious.
Okay, I'll tell you something.
Yes.
Anytime you speak about doing things for people,
Yeah.
particularly young people, you hear, where are you going to get the money from?
Right.
Now,
Because we want to know if we have to
all
pay
right.
later
Do you
on.
know that every Monday morning in the cabinet, they give tax incentives?
Yeah.
Millions of dollars of tax incentives, literally millions. Now, the reason why you don't hear about it, because it's published only in the Gazette.
Right.
If these things are being discussed in Parliament, you would have heard. Now, I'm not saying it's a wrong thing to do, but they give millions of dollars of tax incentives. They give them 25 years tax-free. They can import their things free of duty, sometimes even free of VAT. They can import vehicles free of duty. You understand? Millions of dollars of tax incentives. No one says, where are you going to get the money from? Now, listen to me. I'm not saying to have investment, you must not give incentives. But the same way you must give incentives to people. You must give incentives to young people. Now, let us go through slowly some of the proposals that we made.
Yes.
All right. The first one he made is, he said that anybody who gets less than $4,000 per month
Which is
will
majority.
pay the majority, will pay no tax. What that means? Somebody coming from school, you have a student loan, so you get your money, you pay no tax, so you can pay your student loan. You have more money to spend. The government is not spending your money for you. You are spending your own money. By spending your own money, what can you do with your own money? What can you do with your own money? What you can do? You can buy goods, you can buy services. You can do things that you want to do. Example, supposing you are a young person, you want to start a small business. Instead of giving the government your money, You save to start your own business. You employ more people. So the $4,000 means that people have more money in the pockets. There'll be less hardship on you. But you have a choice to spend the money how you want. And you'll either save it or spend it. If you save it, you put it in the bank has it for on lending to people. So that creates investment. If you spend it, you give it to other people. These people spend it and pivot, etc. So that money, instead of the government spend you, we're giving you more choice. And it's making life easier for you. So you've just left school, your student loan, you can pay it easily because the government is not taking the money from you.
Those making above that $4,000
will continue to pay tax. Oh yeah, they're going to pay tax.
But would their tax increase to compensate?
No, what will happen is that automatically they themselves, their first $4,000, they'll pay no tax on it, but they'll pay tax on the balance.
Okay, all right.
And you see, there'll be more money in the economy,
right?
More money in circulation. The second one we spoke about is facility fees. Now, incidentally, I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and she was saying to me, it's a lady who's working now, and she's going, here to me, do you know that when I went to school, my parents could not pay facility fees? In fact, I got two of these stories. My parents could not pay my facility fees. And it was difficult for me to graduate because these fees were not paid. Now, we are not saying that we will take the facility fees away from the schools. We're not saying that. We're saying that the government will pay the facility fees for the student. So if the school collected money for 600 students, the government is going to pay it. How much does that cost?
Just about to ask, what is that going to cost the government?
It will cost the government about $2.6 million only.
Can we afford that?
Yes, we can. Because I just told you we give. But listen to me. Think about the cost. You must look at the deferred costs. Think about the cost of prisons. Think about the cost of police. Think about the cost of all these social issues. Think about that harassment. Think about students who cannot do it. They can't go because their parents have a choice. Sometimes the parents have to choose between facility fees and food. Because education ought to be free. When you have to pay facility fees, education is not free. When you have to pay facility, because parents have to buy shoes, they have to buy uniforms, they have to give their children, they have to feed them to go to school. What the government is saying is that we're going to give you an ease with the facility fees. So that you can be no excuse. You cannot say you're not sending your child to school because you have no facility fees. We speak about education. But you must understand, there's something called the hierarchy of wants, whichever comes first. The first one is food, right? It was the old philosophy who said food. If people can't eat, few of them will have education. You have to make sure that you give children no excuse, or give parents no excuse for not sending their children to school. And we're going to say, listen, we're going to pay the facility fees for you, so you cannot say you can't afford to send your children to school.
The facilities fees would be paid from infant to tertiary?
It will be paid every school that where facility fees are charged, the government is going to pay. The government is going to pay it.
That's a lot.
It's not a lot. And you see, the average facility fee for primary school and infant school is $40. It's and again, it's high. Some of them might have that. We look at the average. Yeah?
Okay.
Now, St. Lucia has 25,000 children at school. 15,000 at the primary infant level and 10,000 at the secondary level. That's 25,000. If you multiply 15,000, average of $40, you see what you get. If you take the 10 at the secondary school level, average of 100, just do the maths, you see what happens.
JV doing the maths?
Right. Now, that is no money to spend on people. Because I just told you, we give, and I don't want anybody to say I'm saying not to give incentives. We give millions of dollars in incentives, literally millions of dollars in incentives. So why can't we say, listen to me, let us reduce that incentive and spend it on people. And that's what my government will do. Thirdly, we're going to pay CXC for maths and English only for the time being.
Two subjects that we know everybody needs.
And again, it's coincidental again. You know, we were speaking about a lady was saying that her daughter has some problems. We were talking about counseling and things. And some guy said to her in the conversation, what about you? when you were young, what happened to you? So she said the mother had to leave and go to work in somewhere in Martinique or something. She was in the house alone. And listen, she said that her boyfriend had to pay for CXC for her while she was at school. Right? Her boyfriend. Now, we're not going into what age she was. Let's not go there. You understand? But it just shows you, if he who feels it most knows it. There are people who cannot pay the facility fees, who cannot pay the CXC for maths and English. What the government is saying is, we are going to pay it for you, at least for English and mathematics. So you have no excuse. So your child will get the basic education of English and mathematics at CXC. How much does that cost? 3,332 students and write CXC in maths and English. Do the maths to see how much it costs.
What would be the cost?
I think it's about $47.50 per subject.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just do the maths. It's not even $1 million. But people scream. And I'm looking to do the maths, work it out. JV, do the maths, work it out.
Get your calculator out, bro.
Yeah. But
get that calculator out, bro.
Do the maths.
But once you speak about people, where are you going to get the money from?
Well, in all fairness, we have to ask where we get the money from, because sometimes, we hear
we find money for everything.
We hear the promises and then we end up feeling, the blunt of it after when
but we just find money to spend $20 million on less than a half a mile of road. We find the money now and you're working all night to do that. You understand?
Let's take a break now, folks.
We have to take a break?
Yes,
okay, so we're on number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah, with the CXC subjects.
Yes.
I must say, based on what we see on social media, the response was very great. We know that this is especially during a
pandemic.
This
you can see the wood?
I can't say it hurts. The parents are finding it very difficult to be able to afford those basic things, and so persons are looking forward to it. I think what we have learned from this whole thing is that we always think about the after.
Yeah.
It's all well and good to hear what the plans are, but the after, and to hope that we're able to afford it. So it's nice that you're clarifying how exactly we'd be able to cover that. We have 2 more points.
Yep, and
that
I have a few
the
of my
opposition
own
have presented so far. When he comes back, he'll be able to clarify and further expound on. We are here with the leader of the opposition,
That's
the
right.
Honorable Philip J. Pierre.
Good, sir.
We're chatting with him. So far, we went through 3 of your 5 proposed, major proposals for St. Lucia. The last one we spoke about was the removal of, or you footing the bill for that maths and English in CXC. Right.
CXC.
What is the next one that you proposed?
The other one is the big one, which is called the youth economy.
Right. We hear a lot about the youth economy.
Now, as soon as the first thing you hear is, what's that about, right?
Yes.
Now, every day we hear people complain about youth unemployment. They say we argue between 30%, some say 40%. When it comes from 40 to 45, we say we did very well, we reduced it. 35% is too high, 40% is too high, 20% is too high, 15% is too high, 10% is too high, right? But we've never asked young people, what do you want to do? How do you want to work? What work do you want to do? We assume that they want to work in hotels or they want to work in call centers. Nothing wrong in that. Nothing wrong in working in a hotel or in a call center. Nothing wrong in that. But we assume that is what they want to do. And when they do not do it, some of us say, oh, there are jobs and they're not available. There are jobs that are available and people are not taking it. But the policy makers, they've just assumed that they know what young people want to do. What the youth economy is about? It's about allowing young people to work in the areas that they like. Allowing young people to work in the areas that they like. What do young people like? They like entertainment, they like sports, they like information technology, they like modeling, they like designing, they like cottage industries, they like these kind of things. That's what young people like. What the youth economy seeks to do, It seeks to convert what young people think are hobbies into entrepreneurship and to convert their skills into business. How do we do that? We do that by establishing a ministry of the youth economy, which is a ministry that will deal specifically with employment ventures, with economic employment ventures for young people. So, a young person, let's have a simple thing. A young person wants to go into music. Yeah? We'll make music his job. That's his job. So he is going to, the ministry will help him with his skill to improve his skill. What skill does he need? Sometimes I meet several guys in my constituency, Breezy and these guys. What these guys want is just basically a computer, you know. That's all they need. It's a computer, so they can do their music, then they can do their stuff. So the youth economy will make available to them a computer, either through grant or half grant, half loan. What they will do with that? They'll be able all the time to practice, to do what they have to do. They need a little studio. It doesn't cost much. They will start small and they'll expand. The youth economy will create an environment and create an opportunity for these people, because what they like is music. So music is their job. They want to go to work to play music. That's what they want to do. They don't want to go to work in a hotel.
Why do you think people are not confident in the youth economy plan that
because you don't know, because it's novel, it's new, and people never like new things because we are used to the same thing. What we used to is telling a guy, go to school, a young person, go to school, reach Form 5, get CXC, and go and work in a hotel or go and work in a call center, and that's good for you. Nothing wrong in that. Many young people want to do that, and we encourage it, but nothing wrong in that. What we saying to them, go to the same school and go and work as a sportsman. How do you work as a sportsman? Are you aware that there are several talented sports people in St. Lucia? Because they've left school, they have to go to work, so they've lost all their talent. They'll not lost their talent. They cannot produce in sports how they'd like to because they have to go to work, and the employer won't give them time to practice.
But that's not only the issue there. We had that same problem in schools when you have teachers who would tell a student, you're not going to play sports and not finishing my work.
Because they don't see it as a means of employment. What the youth economy will do? It will see sports as a means of employment, not only locally, but regionally and internationally. So let me give you this sports idea. A young man is at school, right? He goes to school, he does his schoolwork. When he leaves school, you put him on a regime of fitness and training, and you pay him, you give him a salary. That's the youth economy. He's being paid. So every morning, every day, he has a routine. He has a routine daily, which is his job. So in the morning, you know, he has a mentor. He has a coach that says to me, Scotty, you come to work at 8 o'clock. And you go to work from 8, you're working and we're paying you. That's the sports economy. That's the youth economy. Because sports is also sports is an economic venture. So what does that guy do? He gets into several leagues internationally and regionally. So we are creating sports people. Look at what Darren Sammy has done for St. Lucia. Look at what music has done for Jamaica. A number of Jamaican artists on the international stage. Then you use the technology to market them. So the youth economy is about converting all these skills into business ventures, making these people understand, listen to me, your skill can become a business. You can make money out of it, and the government will encourage and promote them so that they can create employment for themselves and other people by converting their skills into business. That's what the youth economy is all about.
Practically, how does that happen? Are you creating a separate ministry for youth economy? Are you piggybacking off the creative industries? Are we going to revamp the ministries that we currently have? How does that happen? I think that's part of what we don't understand about the youth economy. Where do the youth go to tap into those sources? And the youth who are out of school, because I'm sure in schools it's easier to manage. You go through the school systems. But once you have left school organization, how do we tap into that youth economy? Is it within the ministries that are already here?
First of all, there are a number of little youth programs in every ministry.
Yes.
Youth in agriculture, even. We're going to have a ministry of the youth economy. All the youth economic ventures. Now, you must make the distinction between sports and the economic ventures. All the youth economic ventures that will create sustainable employment for young people and to help the economy, because these ventures can also create foreign exchange for the economy. They're going to be in one ministry called the Ministry of the Youth Economy, where there'll be constant consultation with young people, because we are tired of telling young people what we want them to do. We are assuming that what we like is what they like. That is not true. But we say what you like can be turned into an economic venture. What you like can be turned into making money for yourself. What you like can turn into you creating employment. Like, okay, we speak about youth in agriculture, all right? Many young people don't want to go and plant bananas. We know the promise on bananas. We're supposed to send bananas to Martinique and France. We never send one stem. So young people understand these things. Young people understand that. What we're saying to them is we're going to put them in the agriculture that they like. What agriculture that they like? They like to modern agriculture. They like greenhouses. That's what they like. So we're going to create the land. We're going to make the land available. We're going to make the skills available to help them to go in the agriculture that they like, not the agriculture that you want them to go into.
Mr. Pierre, if we've been very, very honest, there is an industry that they are seeing
cannabis
taking over
cannabis
overseas, and
I thought that's what you would have said.
And we're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay,
we're getting there.
Tell us about that.
What are you going to do?
How we get going
right
there?
Now we have to be honest. You see, I'll tell you something.
We love honesty around.
What has happened to young people? Young people don't trust politicians because politicians tell them what they think they want to hear, and that is why I've survived in my constituency, because I tell them the reality. Sometimes they will not agree with me, but I tell people the reality. They may not agree with me, but I'll tell you something. You'll never see me go and dance on Friday night. Never. You know.
Because you cannot dance.
No, I can dance.
Okay.
But you know why I won't do that? That's not real. You don't fool people like that. Young people don't understand these things. What I will do, what I do all the time, is the guys who create the music behind the scenes, I help them to get the equipment.
So you like DJ Khaled?
What's that?
Yeah, that's
you would be the main producer, the guy making it happen.
No. I produce nothing. I helping you.
You're making it happen.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
I tell you something. Young people, you don't think young people believe that if I become prime minister, I have time to go and dance on Friday night?
So you're not dancing on a Friday night?
Listen to me. If I dance on Friday night, I'll dance in a party.
No,
I go dance on TV. Let's go where we're going. All I'm saying to you is that young people cannot be fooled.
It's a fact.
That's it. And young people understand gimmicks.
Yes.
And they know what you can. And me, Philip J. Pierre, I don't get involved in that. What I get is real things, talking to you, man, because, I'll tell you something. I've understood, right, that people cannot be fooled. And politicians, and you ask me why I've won my seat so many times?
Yes.
Because I ensure that I do not give people what they want to hear. Trust is what keeps me going. So my constituents know what I can do. They know what I cannot do. I speak to them man to man.
So your constituents trust you?
My constituents, I try my best for my constituents to trust me.
Nice.
So we are back to the youth economy.
Yeah.
Right.
We were talking
about the practicality.
That's what I was saying. So
yes.
You did clarify. You said you would actually set up a ministry.
All these young youth things going to the Ministry of the Youth Economy. No. So the first budget, the Minister of Finance will say, this year we allocated X million dollars for the youth economy, purely for youth ventures, because I do not believe that you must measure everything in terms of money. You have to measure things in terms of the opportunity cost. What happens if you do not do that? And you see it's happening now. So what do you want to go? So say we have violence, and then you have to go talk about policing and enforcement, and you have to have wardens and creating a whole sort of another set of expense, another set of costs. And if you tried to hold these costs back by giving young people opportunities, you may have stopped at the point where you not have to go into this gun buying back guns, amnesty, and because I tell you something. Has anybody spoken to the guys that find themselves in prisons and asked them what would they like to do? They'll tell you two things. First thing they'll tell you is that they have issues with their fathers. Issues with their fathers. They say something about their fathers, and they'll tell you that nothing is running. If you ask them what they want to run, few of them will tell you they want to work in a hotel. Few of them will tell you that. Let me say it again. Nothing wrong in working in a hotel. Few of them will tell you they want to work in a call center. Let me say it again. Nothing wrong in working in a call center. You know what they'll tell you? They'll tell you, boss man, I like music. I like sports. You understand? I want to do something with my hands. I like that's what I like. But I can't do it. When I left school, I couldn't do it. What the youth economy will do? The youth economy will cause them to convert what they like into business. It's what you like, not what I like for you. It's what you like. Now we can't do it for everybody. So the first year of the operation of the youth economy, everybody will not get whatever they want, but we will start the process where young people will be able to convert what they like into business opportunities.
Let's go to the final point so we can get into other questions.
It's actually a part of what he mentioned in the youth economy I want to touch on, and it has to do with sports, right? And when you came in here, you saw how we got on. Immediately there was some banter here, friendly banter. Man U versus Arsenal, and sports is something. And Man U won. Just remind you. Y'all still did not get a trophy this year.
Second.
Where's your trophy?
Arsenal.
Y'all have no trophy. No trophy.
If you let it in relegation.
Guys.
We have seen a lot of infrastructure coming up in different communities for football. We are now hearing about the basketball rims that are coming up on the complex and in Dennery. I want to hear from you though. What specific policies do you hope to implement in the sphere of sports? What do you see as the goal and mission of the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports?
First of all, right, if I had $30 million for sports to spend on sports facilities, there would have been a drastic transformation of sports facilities in the country. Let me tell you why. We have one of the best curators for sports in the world. In the world, I tell you in St. Lucia, Chief, I tell you in the world, we have some of the best. A fellow called Crafton. He's the best. We would use him to prepare playing facilities for us. So we would have no artificial turf. There is no need for artificial turf in St. Lucia. It's too costly and it doesn't serve a dual purpose. You can play cricket. You cannot play cricket on artificial turf. Cricket is a game now where it's getting more because you have T20 cricket, you have T10 cricket. Why young people did not like cricket? Because it was too long. A test match, it was 4 days, 5 months. I haven't seen it for 5 days. Right now you have T10 cricket, you have T20 cricket, you have one day cricket. So cricket has become, you have the Pakistan League, you have the CPL League, and we must sing big. We mustn't sing that the same way Charles and Sammy and Matre made it. That they are not other St. Lucians who want to make it too. We have to think big. We have to stop believing that our sites must only be in St. Lucia. There is the CPL. So you've abandoned in Soufrière, you've abandoned a playing facility that could be used for a dual purpose or for a triple purpose. It could be cricket, football, and athletics. You've made it only, you've removed cricket. And you want to build something else for cricket just to make something look nice. Vaguely. What you want to do is you want to be real. So if I had $30 million, I would have used Crafton to improve all these playing facilities. My guys in Anchipo and Bocage that want just to resurface the court and to put in some rims, I would do it for them. My guys in Bocage, they'll get lights. So I would have done work on every facility and bring all of them up to a certain standard instead of trying to vaguely people with things that at Miku, before guys used to be cricketing Miku, they can't play it now because you put artificial turf. You've not even examined, and listen to the words I'm using carefully, you've not even examined whether there are any health issues with the artificial turf. We've not done any research into it. Have we? There is talk. I'm not saying it's right, but there's discussion that there may be issues with the artificial turf. But you haven't done that. But it looks good. What I would do, I would spend that $30 million to upgrade sporting facilities all over the island, as I started to do at the Marshall Grounds. The Marshall Grounds, it cost me $1 million. What I would have continued to do would have been to fix the stands that has stopped because I am in opposition. The Belgrave Court, which we did, again, I want to say something. I want to put a note of caution to tell people, when these facilities are repaired, please do not destroy them. And we have to be honest. Sometimes these facilities are prepared, are improved, are renovated, and they are destroyed. We should stop that. So in my world, in my government, our $30 million would not be used on 3 or 4 facilities. We'd use it island-wide, using Crafton, one of the best curators in the world, to improve the services for us.
Okay. It's already 9:30. So we're going to have to take a commercial break now.
And we're back at it again here on Blazing 993. Let me see if I can test Mr. Pierre's knowledge in music. You know that rhythm? You know that instrumental playing there? You know that beat? Yeah, you remember that one? Yeah, do you remember that one? That one used to bring you back.
Long time.
Where used to be
Don't.
He doesn't want to say where he used to be, please.
No, doesn't.
No.
Don't tell nobody.
Time the truth used to play and just break into a segment there. Or flavors.
Don't tell nobody, guys.
Tell me, what was one of your favorite bands back in the day?
Move, guys.
What was it? Tell me one of your favorite bands.
There was a band called Quiver. There's True Tones.
Right.
Boo and them, True Tones.
But do you get into the new music?
Yeah, I have a daughter. I have to. I have no choice.
Yeah.
She'll call me. She's called me old already, much less.
So she keeps you up to date.
Man. Yeah,
That's nice. I love to hear that.
I really hope she doesn't play Skilly Bang in the house for you. I would not like to hear you sing Crocodile Teeth.
Before we went to the commercial break, I did tell you my feelings were very hurt because my constituency is Castries North. And I hear everybody asking for elections to be called, not just the opposition or supporters of the St. Lucia Labour Party, but I think everybody has been calling for elections. And I'm saying, but wait, what do you mean call for elections? Because a couple of us are without candidates, from the St. Lucia Labour Party. And everybody, including the Labour Party, is saying, call the elections. Let's hear about these constituencies and what are the plans for us.
First of all, you're talking about Castries North and Castries South.
Yes.
Agreed? As I told you during the break, you are my neighbor. So I have to say about you. The North and Central, both of them are my neighbors, with me in the East. So it's my own vested interest to ensure that things work out well in North and East.
Okay.
So trust me, I will not let down North, nor let down Central. I will not. When the time comes, and in politics, there's something called strategy and tactics. Mm-hmm. Your strategy is your thoughts, and your tactics is your action. When the time comes, you will see both the strategy and the tactic unfold itself in Castries North and Castries East.
You said.
So I'm saying to
when the time comes, what time is that?
The time is the time that we think is right to unfold the strategy and the tactic.
So I shouldn't feel left behind.
Never.
That everybody else
neighbor.
has, the flags up in their constituencies, the
Do you know
billboards
how many candidates we have want to run for Castries North? About 4 or 5, just like Castries Central.
I feel very left out of all the. I see the stars on all the other roads. I see stars in the streets. You swear it's road markings.
Looking better than the road markings if you ask me.
I see in the flames now. The torches
You
being
seen
put
that now?
up. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
all
so
kind of
but
decorations. I
you'll
see
be-
lots of
you'll be
things.
okay, you'll be okay.
And Castries North has nothing.
Castries North is going to be fine.
But you guys are calling for the elections. Am I correct? Are you asking
Yes.
for elections
In fact,
to be called?
On the 6th of June, it's going to be 5 years
Yes.
since elections held in St. Lucia. Now, since you're speaking about elections, I don't know if you want me to tell you briefly what's our position.
Well, the last time you were here, I asked for your prediction on when elections would be called.
Well,
and you had said that was last year.
Yeah, last year.
And you said you think by November, October, November, based on how Jamaica's election campaign was going, and that was the prediction at that time.
And I was
Obviously,
wrong.
it didn't happen.
Of course, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because the only person who knows when the elections is the Prime Minister.
Right.
So do you think you forced his hand?
You know, I can't read his mind. You know.
You never
But-
tried.
No, I can't. Let me tell you something. 6th of June was the last time elections were held in St. Lucia.
Yeah.
So 6 is going to be 5 years. Now listen to me very, very carefully. Because in my business, people like to say what you didn't say. They like to say what they think you say instead of saying what you said. And talking about what you said, it's time, Scotty and Fanny, that we raise the debate in St. Lucia. Right? We think that people should argue on policy. People should argue on, listen to me. That's a policy, that's my policy. What's wrong in mine and what's right in yours? And how can mine be practical or yours not practical? But this mepui and this thing about using social media to denigrate people and these lies and these innuendos that we find coming from, I think it should stop. I think social media should be something where you educate people and not spread rumors and gossip and lies. I think it's wrong. And if you notice, anytime I go on social media as a candidate, as a leader of the party, I go with a policy, or I go with, like, I want to congratulate a young blast guy, a young blast. He's in Form 3 and he came third in the regional CXC in mathematics.
Congrats to him.
A solution. So what we are speaking about elections. The 6th of June will be 5 years since those last elections. Normally, elections are held already. Normally. But the Constitution says that elections are due 90 days after the first sitting of Parliament. The first sitting of Parliament was on the 12th of July. Even the elections were held on the 6th of June. So constitutionally, elections can be called 90 days after the 12th of July. Constitutionally. But that's not the custom. The custom is elections are held within the 5-year period. But constitutionally, it can be held up to October. But we believe that the country should go to elections before the constitutional time for many reasons. We think we must deal with the pandemic. What Fanny does not, she can't say the word. We can deal with the pandemic.
I don't like it.
You don't like it, right? We can deal with the issues of the country. I think the people are expecting elections, and keeping the country in that election mode for so long is bad for the country. So we believe that within the 5 years, elections should have been called
now,
already.
what about that fixed date that everybody seems to discuss? Because that was also a topic during the last elections, that persons were saying it's not fair,
And
that
it was
it's
promised,
only
right?
up to...
It was promised. The last manifesto, the United Workers Party promised fixed date. Remember that?
It is not fair, I think everybody has shared that opinion that it's only up to one person, and it makes certain people nervous, and it leaves things, you're literally leaving it up to a singular person. What is your opinion on the whole fixed date for elections, and if your party is successful, is that something that we can look forward to you guys putting in place?
Also, just to add to that question, would you also put in place a policy that one individual cannot be the prime minister for more than 2 terms?
Right. I'll tell you what. These policy prescriptions must always be discussed with people. You see, we're doing these things for people. Now, you're speaking about constitutional reform of the Constitution. our present constitution is very difficult to change. You must have two-thirds majority in the House and two-thirds majority in the Parliament. That's almost impossible now. The countries in the region that have tried constitutional reform, all of them have failed. St. Vincent tried it in a referendum, they failed. Antigua tried it in a referendum, they failed. Grenada, where the government had all the seats in the Parliament, tried it and they failed. What must happen is that you must have proper consultation with people when you want to change the constitution. Now, fixed election dates means that you have to change the constitution. I believe that is something that our party will put to the people to decide, and the people will decide on that. But we believe that fixed election dates would be the best thing to avoid all the issues that come near election time. You spend so much money to build roads overpriced just because elections are coming. If you know elections are coming on a particular date, then you do your government policy, your government work into that date. So I think it's a very good thing that you have fixed dates for elections. I think, and something that our party will put to the people to decide on that. If you can get both sides in the House, that must be much better. But we think it's better because it gives the government an unfair advantage. Because the government now, although they've narrowed the time, because of their own action, there must be elections before the 12th of October. But it gives them an enormous amount of time to do what they think they can do to win elections. So it's unfair.
Let's move a little bit on to a topic of the day, and that is our crime situation. Horrible news over the holiday weekend, where we were supposed to be praying and fasting. We recorded a double homicide. And
Four.
Well, yeah, two double homicides. And we actually now, in a place of questioning our own communities, what is happening, what is going on. We have had this dark cloud over our heads for years now, and I'm talking about the impacts report. The police seems to be spent and fed up with what's going on with the situation, and no one seems to have answers on how to control it. What will your government do? One, with the impacts report, that is basically a rubber stamp of disapproval on our police force and our island. And how would you curb community crime? Because that's where it starts.
Right. First of all, I want to tell you that crime is not a topic that can be dealt with easily. Politicians who have opened their mouth and who have given prescriptions for crime, saying that they can make places safer. You see what happened to them. Philip J. Pierre will never say that. What Philip J. Pierre will say is that crime is at an unacceptable level, and we will use all necessary avenues, most of all, including consultation with people as to how we can reduce the level of crime in the country. Also looking at the issues, the social issues, the issues in the communities, the issues of children not being able to go to school, the issues of example, of role models, the issues of people believing that there are two St. Lucias, that there is one justice for one set of people, another justice for another set of people. There must be justice for all. Justice must not be done. It must seem to be done. We must lead by example. You understand? We cannot say to one set of people that you can do this and the other set can't do it. So what I'm going to tell you is, as Prime Minister, I'm going to try my best to ensure that people have gained confidence in the system. Let me give an example. The system of justice. Do you know cannabis, as I told you, is still illegal in St. Lucia? So you get arrested for cannabis still. The system should not be such that if a guy gets arrested for cannabis, he goes to prison and you have to get bail for him, etc. That's not supposed to happen. Since it's still against the law, somebody arrested for cannabis should be able to get a police bail. Right? You arrest him because it's against the law. The police must do their work, but he gets a police bail. You don't take him to court next day, sleep in a cell, and you give him a police bail whilst you're in the process. But what we've said, as soon as we get into government, we are going to ensure that anybody who's been in jail or who has a conviction for 1 or 2 joints, that will be expunged from the record.
Can we look forward to the decriminalization of marijuana under your government?
Under our government, we started. I was the first political leader.
See to the mic, sir.
I was the first political leader who called the cannabis people to speak to them. The Solution Party was the first party to do that. We called Mr. DeCaris and his group, and we asked them for their position. We are not going to use marijuana decriminalization as a political tool. Our policy has been clear. First step is to ensure that people who have criminal records because of marijuana convictions, small coins of marijuana is going to be expunged. Second step is we're going to discuss to ensure that all the health and medicinal, the health and social issues relating to smoking, etc., marijuana are thoroughly discussed, and then we'll decriminalize it. Then we look for the using marijuana as an export crop. We've been clear. Our position has been clear, very clear, and that's what we're going to pursue when we are in government. So as back to crime. So what must happen is that we have to ensure that people believe that the system is fair to them. We have to reform the justice system. We have to make justice available to everybody. You can't have somebody at Borderley for 3 or 4 years for an offense. It is assumed that they are innocent until proven guilty. You understand? So we have to make sure that the justice system works. I'll give you an example. Why can't you have guys, rastas, as policemen? Why?
Well, before that, I'd ask you, why can't boys have cornrows in school?
Yeah, well,
Before we even get there, because the problem, I think, starts from very
The
early
roots.
on,
That
you know,
root, yeah.
from very, very early. Before they even reach the age to become an officer or to apply, we do see that we still have these issues in our school
They
system.
are taught that
Yes.
long hair is
In our
should
school
be shunned upon.
systems.
discrimination, right? Not supposed to happen. We're supposed to have a system of hygiene. That is
Yes.
hygienic, not a problem. But I want to get specifically to law enforcement. Why must a young man who wants to grow locks, if he's got good character, he's got the qualifications, he can go to the rigorous training of a policeman, he has the discipline, he has the attitude and the aptitude, why can't he be a policeman? Why can't he be a policeman? Now, these are the little things that will send signals out to the society. Little things, people want you to lead by example. And that's the question. And I believe a lot of the crime problem, because people, first of all, they feel useless, they feel frustrated. We've not instilled in our young men a sense of value, what their life is all about. We make them believe that they are failures if they do not follow a certain path. What we have to do is we have to get into their heads. We have to talk to them. We have to spend a lot of time in getting into people's head. Why in our school system we need to have social workers. We need to have psychologists. We don't only need economists and engineers and etc. These are important, but we need to have psychologists. We need to have people who deal with people's minds, social workers. We need to spend some money on it. You understand? Because a lot of the problems stem even before childbirth. A lot of problems stem from that. When I go to my constituency, I say to the young people there, why are you screaming and shouting at little children like that? You get them in a state of anger. You understand? So we need to go to the root of the problem. The root of the problem for crime is not only about you need to buy guns, you need to have an amnesty. All that's important, but you have to go to the root, and the root of it is the social issues that cause a sense of frustration, a sense of alienation, and a sense that, listen to me, I can die. So it's a deep problem that can't be solved just by lip service. It's got to be solved from the root, entering the minds of people. Find what people, why are you frustrated? Are we speaking to people? Are we speaking with them or are we speaking to them? We have many prescriptions. Do this, work here, do that. But do we ever speak to the young people and ask them, what really is your problem? Young man, why do you think it's okay to shoot somebody you went to school with? Why is it okay? Have you ever done that? Or do we do that enough? I believe that you've got to enter into the spirit of dialogue with young people to ask them what are their issues. And that is where our youth economy will try to convert these skills that they have, that these talents they have, into entrepreneurship and into business, so they can work in places and in occupations that they like, not what you like for them, what they like for themselves. And government must facilitate that.
How will you deal with the impact report, though?
The impact report, first of all, again, we've never been called to discuss the impact report. And that is something that...
Were you privy to it when you were in?
No.
Okay. It was just the Prime Minister and National...
It was national security issue.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, another part of the problem is our governance.
Mm-hmm.
We take major decisions in this country and we assume that because we've won elections, we can do whatever we want. That's not true. Let us, and I want Franny to hear that. Let us break down the electoral situation in this country. Right? It's 11-6. 43,000 people voted for the United Workers' Party. 37,000 voted for the St. Lucia Labour Party. Okay? There's a difference there, about 7,000 votes or so. 8,000 votes. So there are only 8,000 people more that voted for one party. Now, if you look at where that 8,000 is, that 8,000 people is 2,000 in Grosile, 2,000 in Castries North, your constituency. That's 4. 1,000 something in Babonneau, that's 5, and 1,000 something in Miko South. So you'll find, and out of these 8,000 people, the majority of them are in 4 constituencies. But if you will believe you can win an election, and you can believe that because you have 11 seats, the rest of these people have lost their right to speak because they lost an election. This is crazy. You cannot survive on that system. We have to change our system. We have to get into a process of consultation. We have to speak to people. We cannot believe that because people haven't bought into the ideology of the party that they must be ostracized. They can't be ostracized. And a government of the Labour Party will speak to people. We've put it on record that every parliamentary representative must have an allocation for his constituency so he can do little things. Scotty, I cannot clean a drain in my constituency. This morning, if somebody calls me and says to me, parliamentary rep, I have a drain that's blocked. Can you get clean for me? I have to do it with my own money.
How is that possible when you are the elected rep for your constituency?
But you heard the philosophy well described by
who?
By United Workers' Party candidate. She described it perfectly.
You're referring to your opponent.
Can you paraphrase?
I'm referring to a candidate who made a well thought of policy of political victimization. It's the best manifestation of political victimization that I've heard. That should be written down as a serious doctrine. It says that if you do not buy into the philosophy of the party, you are not part of the government's developmental programs. And I mean, this is serious. And you understand what's happening to us. This is serious stuff. You know what I mean? So you're in somebody, and then so what you do is you say these things and you say Pierre hasn't done anything for Castries East. Pierre,
are they wrong?
Very wrong.
Okay.
One day, when you have some time, if you want, you give me some time. You need more than your program. Let me tell you about Castries East.
And you can take me on a tour.
When you're ready.
Last time we asked for a tour.
No, the tour you got in trouble.
Last time I asked,
no
I got
tour.
in trouble. We're not asking for any tour.
No
Okay,
tour.
sorry.
No tour. No tour.
Sorry.
Right.
I have let me move away from because I have a very important question here.
Please.
And I'm going to read a quote and tell me if you recognize that quote. At the heart of every productive society is a robust, accessible, and affordable healthcare system. Do you know that quote? You have indicated to all solutions. That's a quote from you. that your party is committed to delivering
Universal
quality
and
health.
universal
Yes.
affordable healthcare.
What do you consider as quality health service? One, how do you plan to ensure that every St. Lucian receives that health service without prejudice? And how long will we have to wait to see any kind of movement in achieving that promise if you're elected?
Right, very well. First of all, right, there are two types of diseases. There are communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. First of all, what we try to do is we will try for a process of education to reduce as possible the non-communicable diseases by a process of education, right? So that means diet and exercise, first thing. But secondly, what's important is health must become a priority. There is no excuse, Scotty, for St. Jude Hospital being where it is today. There's absolutely no excuse for that. There can be no excuse for a hospital, right, to be for buildings that have not been certified as not being able to house a hospital, to be left abandoned, to be left to deteriorate, and for us now to be spending millions of dollars for another building and rushing to complete it for election purposes. There can be absolutely no excuse for that. No excuse. There can be no excuse for the OKU hospital that in 2016 was named on the instructions of, in February 2016. We must get the dates properly. It was named as the OKEU hospital in February. In June, there was an election. These buildings were left from June 2016, and it was forced to be open in 2020 because of the word Fanny doesn't like, because of the pandemic.
We'll just say COVID-19.
Right, COVID-19. You don't like
Thank
pandemic.
you. I can say COVID-19.
You can say COVID-19. Right,
COVID-19.
right. Because of COVID-19. You left it for 3 years. You refused to open it for 3 years. But you could. It was possible to open it now in 3 months because of pandemic. The question is, why did you have these two buildings? You have one that still is not functioning and people are still in the stadium, and you have another one that you've rushed to open. And I tell you something, up to last night I was speaking to somebody, conditions at the OKEU, if it were not for the nurses and the doctors and these two hospitals, St. Lucia would be in more of a crisis than it is. A Labour Party government, its first priority, before we can spend $20 million on a piece of road at Rodney Bay. I want you to go back in your mind and tell me what was wrong with that stretch of road in Rodney Bay.
Before the road, just now.
Yes,
Yes, because it's such
So
a hospital.
You can find that money. You can find that money. But you have a situation where at the hospital, as we speak, people have issues with medicines, with medication. People have to leave. There's a lady who I know, her child has to go to buy medicine for her every day. I'm not blaming the nurses and the doctors. I'm not doing that. I'm saying the Labour Party's priority would be to fix the healthcare system by having our priorities right. When you're in government, the resources are not infinite, but you must have your priorities. You must look at what is the priority. And for the Labour Party government, jobs and the healthcare system, particularly in a COVID environment, is going to be the priority. So a Labour Party government priority would not be to, right now, we're spending about millions of dollars on roads. That's not a priority of the government. We need the roads, but we need to see about the people, and the people would be the healthcare system. We've heard about the health insurance scheme. From 2016, every budget address, we've heard about a health insurance scheme. Where is the health insurance scheme?
So why do we keep hearing about different policies, different plans, but there is no materialization of any?
Wrong. The Labour Party started the universal health care.
Okay.
We started by giving treatment for diabetes and hypertension and then it would have continued. We started it. In 1997, probably you're still at school, the Labour Party's first priority was to improve the emergency ward at Victoria Hospital. The first, 1997. That was our first order of business. And the present Minister of, what is she? Minister of Foreign Affairs? She was the Minister of Health in the Labour Party government. And our first, we improved the emergency with Dr. Lisa Charles. We improved the emergency facilities at Victoria Hospital. So it's in our DNA. The Labour Party's DNA is to see about people and to improve their services. It's the same Labour Party that began the construction of the OKU Hospital. The same Labour Party. It's the same. It's our party that started the real diversification of education. This is why we had universal secondary, universal primary. So we are customers of people. So a new Labour Party government will put people at the center, and people at the center means that the health of the country will be at the center of the country's development. Our priorities, I want to use the word correct for you to hear, our priorities are going to be people-centered. So we would not, in a time of pandemic, think that our priority is $20 million for a mile and a half of road.
I do want an update on something that happened where we heard a lot about it, but I don't think we heard any update officially. But your party did formally request a visit to the St. Jude building.
We did.
Whatever came of
Nothing
that,
came out of
have you guys gone to see? What is the update? So what happens next since you haven't seen
what
it?
Came
and
out
what are
of
your
it
plans?
Is the minister wrote, and the minister said we have some documents to give. I don't know what he's talking about. You know, and these are the flashing mirrors that we get in the politics all the time. We do not keep our eye on the issues. An opposition party is asking you to visit a hospital, a physical visit, to go and see anybody else. You can bring journalists, you can bring Franny. You remember Franny? Franny, you went, right? But Franny can go, and I'm very happy she went. Journalists can go. But the opposition party that represents 37,000 people in the country cannot go. Because you say you must give them documents. Documents about what? The government itself, the government had an audit into the St. Jude Hospital. They didn't ask us for any documents. The minister took the police and he paid a visit to a building in Granville, Corinth, and he seized stuff. He took equipment, he went away with it. He didn't ask for any documents. The ministers made several proclamations about St. Jude. They asked me documents. What documents do I have? I have no documents. The government doesn't consult me on anything. The government just dictates. So if you cannot think it necessary for the official opposition, the leader of the opposition is a constitutional post. If you look in the Constitution, there's no minister in the Constitution, you know. You can never find in the Constitution a minister of tourism. You know what you'll find? You'll find the leader of the opposition, the prime minister, the attorney general, and the minister of finance. These are the only four posts that are mentioned, political posts that are mentioned in the Constitution. He is asking you for a visit to somewhere where you're spending millions of dollars of money that the taxpayers of the country will have to pay back. Not you, the taxpayers. And you're saying to him, show me the documents that you have. That is an insult. It's taking the people to St. Lucia for a ride. And I'm saying to you, that is unacceptable. And you're dealing with the health of the country. The millions of dollars that have been spent on St. Jude, it doesn't come from Philip J. Pierre's pocket. You are the people who pay it. The taxpayers of the country, the young people that we speak so much about, they are the ones who are going to be paying that money back. Not me, I'll be dead. The young people, and they are the ones who have to ask questions about the money that's been borrowed. They are the ones who have to ask questions on why, after you spent over $100 million on some buildings, you have abandoned it. You haven't said to the people what you're going to do with it, but you spend another few millions on another building, and you have no accountability. How much have we spent on these new buildings? How much have we spent? How much money have we spent on the new St. Jude buildings? That is not information only for any minister or any prime minister. That is information for the people of the country. We do not know that. But instead, what we do, we have diversions. We attack people personally. We go here, we go there. Instead of dealing with the issues of the country. The issues of the country are that this country has borrowed millions of dollars, which will be paid back by the young people of St. Lucia, and we do not know how much money have we spent on St. Jude Hospital. These are the questions. And that is why any question that relates to universal health care that you want to put the opposition under scrutiny for must start from here. How much money has been spent? And the opposition is telling you that our priorities are going to be people-centered in terms of jobs, in terms of health, and the Labour Party government will ensure that the people's money is properly accounted for. And then our priorities will be such that we will not waste money on election projects. Our money will be spent to improve people's lives.
We're fresh out of time. Thank you very much.
You don't want to take a question from the platform?
I can.
Let's do that.
I can.
So persons can actually ask questions in the meantime.
We have questions
Okay, go
already.
ahead.
One person says, I have a question. I have noticed a trend among ministers only focusing on their generations. So my question is, what do you have planned for the generations after you? Also, my generation and others after us aren't interested in politics anymore. So what will you do to get us interested in voting?
Well, I thought it just shows that we need to do more, right? I thought we did that with the youth economy. But the point I'm making to you is that young people must look for themselves. They're bright enough, they understand, look for themselves. Look at what's real and what's not real. Look at gimmickry and look at reality. What the Labour Party is saying is we have some concrete proposals that will improve your lives immediately and into the future. That's what the Labour Party is saying.
We have another one here. Can stricter gun laws be implemented where unlicensed firearm holders face harsher penalties? In my opinion, there is no good reason for an unlicensed firearm.
And I agree. But the bigger question is, why must somebody believe that they should have an unlicensed firearm? We agree that penalties should be. The penalties are not working. We already have penalties, We have all the laws. We already have penalties, but they're not working. We have to find out why aren't these things not working. And that's the question. Why does a young man who is brought up in the part of St. Lucia believes that he must have a gun to kill another young man who lives about a few yards from his residence? Why? And the other question is, so the penalties are important, but the issues are, why are these things happening? And you know why they're happening? We have to get into the minds. We have to get into the minds of young people to find out why these things are happening to them.
Yeah.
A lot of work to do.
As we wrap up,
yes,
I would love to hear from you, and I'd love for you to tell St. Lucians why they should have full confidence in the St. Lucia Labour Party in our next, whenever it's called, in our next general elections.
I want to thank you very much, Fanny. I want to say to the people of St. Lucia that you have a choice. Our electoral process, our democracy gives us a choice. In 2016, you voted for a government that promised many things, a government that promised to make your life better, to give you money in your pockets, to remove VAT, a government that promised these issues, a government that promised to make you safer. We are saying to you that hasn't worked. You do not feel safer. Your unemployment is still high. Your healthcare is still where is it? Where it's at? Where it's worse than before. Your healthcare has not improved. We are saying to you that it's your turn now to say, listen to me. This government has failed you. It is our democratic right to elect another government. That is our democratic right. There can be no excuses. I'm saying to the people of St. Lucia, by its history, the Labour Party believes that we have a better team. We have a team where our priorities are different, where our priorities are putting people first. A team that would not allow, after a pandemic, to allow thousands of people literally to be looking for food. That's a reality in St. Lucia. But you can find money to build roads that are unnecessary. we're saying to you that the government's priorities are very wrong, and the Labour Party will ensure that people come first, that our priorities are based on people, that our young people get involved in employment that they like, and we do not live in a country where there are two solutions, where one set of people believe that they are disenfranchised and another set of friends and family believe that the country belongs to them. It's one solution, and we're going to bring it closer together. That is what the Labour Party is all about. Thank you so much. It's been another great interview. Can't wait to see what y'all do with this one. That's it for us here on the morning.